Okay, so a few words about the city of Warsaw. I know there will be a big presentation from Pi about Poland, so just a brief information from me. So, as you probably know, that Poland is the biggest CE market and one of the biggest market in the whole European Union. We are the largest beneficiary of EU funding, and for almost 25 years, we have been country without a recession. So we were the only such country in the whole European communities. Even with the whole COVID situation and all the problems coming from it, we have still solid credit ratings from almost all biggest agencies, so Fitch, Moody's, and Standard & Poor's. And in the very center of Poland, of Europe, and in the center of Poland, there is a city called Warsaw, which is the capital of Poland. As you may see, it's pretty well connected with the whole world. Our airport is got over 200 destinations all over the world, with such places in Europe like Stockholm, Vienna, Rome, Paris, or London, but also on other continents. So you may fly directly from Warsaw to New York, Los Angeles, or Tokyo. In 2018, the airport served almost 80 million passengers. We know that the next years, due to COVID, the number fall down. We hope it will get well soon, and we'll try to do everything to increase the number. Warsaw is located in the very center of Poland. You may get from here to any other city in the country in less than 4 hours by car, in less than 1 hour by plane. Which is a huge advantage if you are considering putting a few investments in Poland and have a good flow of employees between them. And our city has a pretty long list of assets and of strong sides, but I will try to focus on three main ones. So the human capital, the real estate, and the quality of life. So coming from the very beginning, we've been awarded several times in many rankings that we are one of the best cities for business friendliness. In Financial Times, we've been #2. We've been called also the Polish city of the future, #1. Emerging Europe city #1 in Friendly Perception Survey. Warsaw has almost 3 million citizens in agglomeration, so Warsaw and all the areas nearby, and 70% of Warsaw citizens have a higher education. Also, almost half of them speak English. So the numbers are pretty high, and we are very proud of our talent pool and the quality of that. As you may see, so the number of students in Warsaw, so potential employees, is more than 200,000 each academic year, and quarter of that number is coming to the labor market in Warsaw, including almost 30%, including foreign students, which the total, when we take the total number in Poland, so almost 1/3 of them is studying in Warsaw. According to our studies, 93% of students in Warsaw consider it a good place for career development. So we see there is a clear, straight path from the beginning of the higher education to employment and to making a career as a specialist. And we are doing everything to improve that. We've got over 60 universities in Warsaw. Most of them are private ones, but there are also 15 public universities. And as you may see in relevance to business, there are several fields of study that are pretty popular. So business and administrations, ICT, or technical and engineering studies, all of them has a pretty big number of students. And when these students come to the labor market and they are trying to find a job, so as you may see, their wages are comparably lower than it is in the Western Europe. So this is one of our biggest assets, and when the investors see that they can have the same potential and the same quality of serving the processes in city as Warsaw, and they don't need to pay as much as they do in London, Dublin, and Frankfurt. So they consider the whole offer of the city attractive. And according to the survey, it's more than 80% of foreign investors that considering employee competence in Poland attractive. Warsaw is traditionally a big place and a good spot for companies from the financial and IT sector. Currently, we've got more than 200 SEC BPO centers in Warsaw, which in total is more than 50,000 employees. And such brands as Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan, so they decided to come to Warsaw not a long time ago, and they feel good here. And we see there is even
sorry for interruption, but it's still the first slide.
So sorry, I didn't know that. I will try to do the other way then. I think we will do it just from the PowerPoint, okay?
Right. Yeah. And I can see the question if we will share the presentation. Yeah, we will share the presentation on the LinkedIn group.
Yes, definitely. I will send you the presentation with all the data after the meeting. So the business services sector is pretty strong in Warsaw. As I mentioned, there are several brands that already decided to invest here. And it's also, we see a growing trend of key startups in Warsaw. Yeah, so such specialties are big data and analytics and as fintech. They are very popular in the whole Mazowieckie Voivodeship, which is the region around the Warsaw. And according to, for instance, Bloomberg Innovation Index, we are #1 in CE, and in overall ranking, we are number 22, which is not a bad position for an Eastern Europe country. Also, the R&D environment, something that is super important for us. There is almost 1,000 public and private R&D entities in Warsaw currently, totally employing more than 30,000 people. We see that there are several R&D centers in Warsaw, such as CESAMAT, or Center of New Technology at the University of Warsaw, or CEPT, so Center for Clinical Research and Technologies. Places as CESAMAT, so they are the most advanced and most modern such place in the whole Europe. So we're really proud of the processes and the research done here, and we also see this trend as a growing. So the second asset of Warsaw is the office market, which, as you may see, in Warsaw, it's in total it's bigger than the whole Poland altogether. Currently, we've got more than 5.5 million square meters of office supply, and still more than 500,000 is under construction. So this is the biggest number of office space in the whole Central and Eastern Europe, including, for instance, places like Vienna. So whether you're a small company or a big corporation, you will find a place suitable here in Warsaw, whether you want it to be downtown in the business districts, as for instance Służewiec, or do you want it on the right bank of the river, which is more historical part of the city, there will be no problem to find the right spot for you. We also see that there is a growing trend of co-working stock in Warsaw, which right now I think is more than 1,100 square meters, and we see it as growing. And what is important, it's growing pretty the same in every district also. So as you may see, the center districts are about the half of the co-working spaces, but you will find the great places also in Ursynów, Mokotów, or the right bank of the river. And the last thing, so the quality of life, there are several aspects of it. So the one we're really proud of is the public transport. which according to EMTA research, the percentage of public transport share of trips, we have the second biggest one in the whole Europe. We've got 2 metro lines, 4 rapid urban railway lines, almost 300 bus lines, and 25 tram lines, which is pretty dense network of all types of public transport. We spend a lot of money for it. So in the last 8 years, over 2.5 billion euro. And even if the eyes of our citizens, so the almost 90% of population has a good opinion about it. So this is the thing we are trying to develop. We are trying to reduce the number of cars within the city, and we are trying to be every, let's say, business spot to be available in almost in less than half an hour to get from every other part of the city. The Warsaw Public Bike, which has been super popular before the COVID times. We've got 6,000 bikes, which in total was the 5th largest urban bike system in Europe. So the number of bike lanes is still growing. We saw a huge decrease in 2020 due to pandemic situation. We hope it will change this year because we see it as the most eco-friendly and very popular type of public transport. Warsaw is also a place when you can have a good time and you have a lot of things to do. 87% of our ratings have a good opinion about life in Warsaw in general, because it's a green city, so 30% of it are green areas. We've got almost 100 parks. We are also the safest city in Poland and one of the safest cities in the whole Europe. We are trying to be the smart digital city. It's not a process that has been finished yet, but we are all working on several projects right now, including data sets for creative industry, but also 19115 multi-channel contact center, which has been based on the one that it's working in New York, and it's a single, the line of single contact available for every citizen, that if you have any problem with your functioning within the city, whether it's a hole in the road, or you see a falling tree, or you don't know how to get somewhere, you may call it and the assistants will be able to help you. Also, our cultural and free time offer is pretty big. So museums, cinemas, galleries, theaters, places like that are in normal times open. Currently, their services are limited, but still we see that the offer is pretty big. And if you want to, I think there is no activity you cannot find in Warsaw if you're just interested in it. So that's all from me. If you have any further questions, I will be here at the Warsaw table. Here's also an email to our team, Invest in Warsaw, umm.warszawa, so Warsaw in Polish.pl.